If you're struggling right now to break free from the narcissistic change, the narcissistic abuse, the trauma bond has got a grip on you, you can't move forward. You feel like whatever you do, the narcissist is just still there in your head. You're having nightmares, you're sweating at night, you have this foggy head, and all you seem to think about is them. Even though it's in the past, even though physically you have moved forward, even though physically you have moved past that point in your life, mentally, when you've had narcissistic abuse, when you've suffered with PTSD, complex PTSD, they're still in your head. You can't get them out of your head. They are stuck in your head. Whatever you do, they just seem to follow you around. Now, the reason for this is because as human beings, we focus on the pain, we focus on the danger, we focus on that part of us that keeps us alive because we want to survive. That's the main focus for the hypervigilant brain after narcissistic abuse, is to focus on the danger. And we built that superhighway to go over and over and over again to that place, rather than taking that to us, rather than allowing that brain, rather than allowing ourselves to go to that place that's unfamiliar. But the truth is we have to go to that unfamiliar. And we know where the unfamiliar is, right? Because we have a we are here and we have a we want to be here type mentality. So we know where we are right now. We know the pain that we're in right now. And we also know the goal. We want to be happy. Yeah, we want to be satisfied. We want to just get rid of this anxiety. We want to get rid of this trauma. We want to just be able to live a happy life. We just want to move forward with ourselves. But we can't, because there's a gap in the way. And how do we bridge that? We try and build a bridge. We come up with all these solutions and we watch all these YouTube videos, read all these books, and we think, you know what, I can just jump across there. There must be a way. What is the way? But the only way isn't to focus on the end, because when we focus on the end, when we focus on where we want to be, we're focusing on that I'm not there yet. We're focusing on that I can't get there. This is hard. There's no way. I can't see a bridge. There is no way to get there. We're focusing on the lack. When we're focusing on lack, we just see lack. We see obstacles. We see problems. We see that it's hard to get there. And then we end up going back on that path that we know so well. That path of just worrying about things, that path of being hypervigilant, that path of having nightmares and anxiety, because that path is doing something good. It's keeping us alive. So we keep doing that because we think, well, at least we're staying alive. But we don't want that. When we got out of the narcissistic relationship and we know that we're safe, logically we know we're safe. And we know that now we want to focus on that goal. And how do we get to that goal? Like I said, we've got to bridge this gap. And the only way to bridge this gap is by focusing on the present, because that gap there is right where you are today. That gap is the present. That gap isn't focused on the future, isn't looking at the past. It's not being an historian, and it's not being not astrologist. It's not looking anywhere apart from now. And what can we do right now to get to where we want to be? The only thing we can do is to be now who we want to be in the future. Does that make sense? The only thing we can do now to get where we want to be in the future is to be who we want to be in the future. In other words, we need to become our future self. Act like our future self now. Embody the habits of our future self. Start working on the future self traits. So if our future self, if this happy self is grateful for things, we can practice gratitude now. If our future self is confident, we can practice things that are bringing confidence. Now, the reason people don't like this is because to be confident, to be grateful, we've got to do things that are uncomfortable. We don't like to say I'm grateful for something when actually there's nothing to be grateful for. We don't like to push through barriers and say I'm confident when actually we're feeling scared. But that's what we have to do. We have to do those things that are scary to bring the courage. There's a saying, isn't there? The treasure that you seek is in the cave that you fear the most. Right at the back of that dark cave is where your future self is hiding. And that cave that we're talking about really is the mind, right? That cave we're talking about is the mind. You have all the tools within you. You are the only tool that can move forward. As long as you're in the present and you're not in the past and you're not in the future, as long as you're in the present right now, doing what you know you need to because you've looked at that future goal and been like, right, I need more courage. I need less anxiety. I need more of whatever it is. I'm going to work on that. Because when you're working on that, it doesn't matter about where you've got to. You're not comparing yourself to where you should be. You're not comparing yourself to where you were, but you're just knowing that you're taking one step at a time. And what this does is it builds a new path. This path that then becomes easy to follow. Because the more times you walk through a wooded area, the clearer the path becomes. Because the plants decide to grow around, right? The plants grow around and you get to walk through. Now this becomes a super fast path. This becomes a road. This becomes a super highway. Before you know it, you're whizzing up and down there. This new path that you've created becomes one of success, one of love, one of abundance, rather than one of lack. One that you can get to any time you want. One that you can now access. Before you know it, you suddenly think, hey, hold on a minute. I was back there a minute ago and I was stuck on that other path. And now here I am and I've built my own path. I've created my own journey. I'm no longer listening to that narcissist telling me that I'm not good enough, belittling me, telling me that this is their version of the world and I need to succumb to that. Wow. This is an amazing place to be because I stopped for a minute. I was present. And I reinvented myself by doing the things that my future self wants me to do. And if this is something you're struggling with right now, just check out our free training because we've got some training that helps you to understand this further. Work on this. But trust me, you've got this. You have got everything it takes because the biggest tool is in your head. The biggest tool is already there. Now, I teach people hypnosis. And I always say to clients when they come in, I say, do you believe this is going to work? Because when you look at any study on placebos, for instance, there's a study where a dentist, he puts like a paste on someone's tooth and says, you won't feel any pain because we've got this new special paste that takes away all the pain. You're going to have no pain. And people who are scared of the dentist are like, okay, brilliant, I've got this new paste. They do the injections, they do everything on them. And the person says, wow, that was great. Like there was no pain compared to normal because you had this new special paste that takes away all the pain. And it was just a placebo. So because they believed it, it works. And this is why I say to my clients, if you believe that you can create a new path, if you believe that you can create this new life, if you can believe that you can step into this identity of your future self that already exists, then you will live that life. But if you don't believe it, if you believe that you have to be stuck on this path and there is no way out, and that's what it feels like, and I get that. But if you can find that part of you that believes that you can move forward, then you will.